Hi there everybody, this is Megan with Cooking on Caffeine, and this is my vegan royal icing recipe. So the first thing that we're going to do is get our ingredients together. You're going to want some white vinegar, powdered sugar, vanilla, I'm using clear vanilla here, and either canned beans, I'm using garbanzo, or you can cook your own and it's the cooking liquid, not the soaking liquid. And then I've got a lemon, I'm going to use the lemon juice to thin out my royal icing when it's done. And using a mixer with a whisk attachment, we're going to add about a teaspoon of white vinegar, and this is just going to stabilize our Aquafaba fluff that we're going to make with a powdered sugar to turn into royal icing. So we've got our vinegar in there, and now we're going to add in about 1/4 cup of the Aquafaba, which is that water from the can of beans. I use garbanzo because it's a nice light color. You can use the water from any beans though, and it should turn out perfectly fine, even if it does tint the icing just a little bit. And if you don't want to use white vinegar here, you're more than welcome to use about 1/8 teaspoon of cream of tartar, or even a teaspoon of lemon juice. As long as it's an acid, it should stabilize the meringue really well. So I've got our mixer on high with the whisk attachment, just to get the Aquafaba frothy. We're just going to get some bubbles on the top. It reminds me a bit of the head on a beer, and that's what we're looking for here. We're not going to do a full fluff, soft peaks, medium peaks, all of that stuff right now. We are just getting a bit of frothiness on the top of our Aquafaba, and then we will add in our sugar. So that's what we're waiting on here. And you can do this on medium speed, a medium high, or high. I'm usually pretty impatient during this part, so I crank the mixer up to high. But here you can see that we're frothy. We're ready to add in our powdered sugar. So just open up the bag and dump it in. I usually dump in about half the bag of powdered sugar. I don't measure this. I don't measure anything in my recipe. Actually, it's a dump recipe. So I add in half the bag of the powdered sugar and mix on low speed. Otherwise you're going to have a giant cloud of sugar that envelops you and the whole kitchen. So mix on slow, or your low speed on your mixer, just until it's mostly incorporated. And it still looks really liquidy now, so I'm going to go ahead and add in about a half of the remaining powdered sugar that's in the bag, so that'd be about 1/4 bag. And then once again turn the mixer on low to incorporate this. And what I'm going for here is kind of an Elmer's glue, school glue type consistency. Because I'm using organic powdered sugar, it's not going to be bright white since it's not filtered with the bone charcoal. So that's okay. I'm going to add in a little bit of white coloring later, but even without the white coloring, once you get the meringue going in this, it will turn white. So see, it's still kind of liquidy. You got it's a little bit thicker and more viscous now, but I do definitely need some more sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of my bag. And once I do that, we're going to turn it on low again, just to incorporate it. And I'm looking for that school glue type consistency. So turn the mixer on low so we don't get covered in powdered sugar again. And just let it go until it's incorporated. Here, I turn the mixer up a little bit higher just to get the powdered sugar that was stuck in the middle of my whisk to mix in with the rest. So check the texture, and there we go. It is very school glue type consistency, which is exactly what we were looking for. So once we get to this stage where we're in our school glue looking syrupy mix, I'm adding in my vanilla, which is my clear vanilla. You can use regular natural vanilla, but it will tint your icing just a little bit. If you do that, add in like pinhead sized amount of purple coloring, and it'll balance it back out to white. But I'm just using clear here, and then squirting in about a teaspoon and a half of my white coloring. And once I do that, I'll just, start it on low again so we don't spatter that everywhere. And then we're going to turn the mixer all the way up to medium high. And I went ahead and sped this up for you guys. We're going to do this for 8 minutes. You can do anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. And this is going to thicken it up, fluff it up. You'll see it's going to turn white, and it's going to increase in volume as we're doing this. And while we're waiting for this to come up to consistency, I wanted to go over a few of the applications of the royal icing. They are exactly the same as a traditional egg white royal icing. You can use them, of course, to decorate cookies with. They are great with a little bit of the lemon juice to thin out the icing. I like that flavor a lot. It balances out the super sweet, sugary cookies, and then of course the royal icing is mostly sugar too, so that's great with a lemony royal icing. You can also use it as glue for your gingerbread houses. You can use it as decoration on cakes and cupcakes. You can use this royal icing also to make your own sprinkles, and check out Gretchen's vegan bakery for a tutorial on how to make the sprinkles. She does a great job of showing it over there. And then you can also make royal icing transfers, which are basically giant sprinkles. Like if you're making cookies and you have like maybe a bat that you want to put on a Halloween cookie, you can pipe out some of your royal icing onto either parchment paper, or I like to use the plastic page protectors, and the royal icing will pop right off of that once it's dry. So I'll pipe whatever my designs are with my template on a page inside the plastic page protector and leave it to dry for a day or two. And it'll pop right off, and then you can glue it onto your cookie or your cake with a dab of the thick royal icing, and that works perfectly fine. So those are just a few of the uses of royal icing. If you want it to have a little bit of a softer bite as well, you can add a little bit of corn syrup in it. Start with about a tablespoon and test and see if you like that consistency once it's dry. That way, you're not gonna break your teeth on it. Most people like that really crunchy texture though. But you can try that. You can also add a little bit of glycerin and it'll have the same effect. So here we're just still mixing. I actually walked away to gather ingredients for my sugar cookies while this was going. So definitely find another task to do while this is whipping up. You can stare into the bowl the entire time if you want, but it does get pretty boring. So we're just letting this go, again, 8 to 10 minutes, and we're almost there. So just sit back and enjoy the show and a little bit of the music for a few seconds. Okay, and as you can see here, the icing has gotten bright white and very fluffy. This is exactly what we're looking for after about 8 minutes with the mixer on medium high. So if we scoop this out into the bowl, here you can see that we're getting stiff peaks with it. This is a thick royal icing that is easily thinned out for any other consistencies that you might need. This is great, for writing and maybe some leaves, but not so great for rosettes. You'll need to thicken it up. But here, thinned out and put on cake, it's great, as well on the cupcakes, and of course on your sugar cookies. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. Now you know how to make vegan royal icing. Stay tuned and subscribe to the channel for more videos coming up soon on how to do different consistencies of your icing, as well as a macaron video coming soon. Thanks, guys.